Welcome to a new series I want to call Exploring the Cosma Visions and Prisma Visions Tarot and Oracle decks. And wow, just the cinematic effect that is provided going in order with these is pure magic. Yeah, up here is the Cosma Visions Oracle deck. Then down here is the Prisma Visions Tarot. And so what we're going to find is striking similarities between the original creations of tarot and how like a lot of them, especially like things like this, these ones, they're very similar to the traditional way that it's built, one of my personal favorites. And I feel like to start off, we should start off with the Ace of Pentacles. So, the Ace of Pentacles, the beginning of the path, an open door. Where do you want to go? How do you want to explore? That's the decision that you're making and figuring out which way you want to go, perhaps juggling a couple of different things. You'll see a lot of striking similarities in this. Three of Discs is all about doing in the work, putting in the effort to really create whatever it is that you're wanting to. Holding time to make sure that you're not being miserly and not being effective. For when you do that, sometimes you end up being distraught, even underneath beauty that has been wrought. 6, beautiful time of creation and integration. 7, taking time to actually plant, to do the work, to just be like, with this childlike wonder over here, deciding what to do with the seeds that you've been given, the actions that have been coming into your life. 8, taking time to keep watering your garden, taking time to really be present. And then in 9, we then start to rejoice of the experience. And then 10 is when the family is born, and then we get to start again. This is a happiness, this is a success card. I'm not going to go into the court cards right now. Ace of Cups, beautiful emotions, beauty overflowing, new beginnings, typically in romance, which we'll then see in 2. And then within 3, we start to see playfulness, celebration, integration with one another. 4 ends up taking time to explore the things that are no longer happy within our life. Perhaps sometimes so focused on only one cup that we forget about the rest. 5, you end up having to go ahead and give up some of those emotions that are no longer serving you in your highest light, so that then you can enjoy the beauty again within 6. Taking time for some calm, beautiful reflections before we get to 7, where there's all these different cups, different options, different choices, where you're then potentially lost with 8, perhaps distracted by all of the emotions instead of really being able to see clearly like we do in 9, which then allows you to come to a sense of peace of mind before you get to 10. And then you get to really spark that love with another again. Ace of Swords, planting in that idea about what it is that you're desiring. And 2, interestingly enough, is a solitary hue, and the being looks like he's blindfolded, or perhaps he's wearing a mask. Yeah, the rest of them, they're all wearing a mask, so probably is that for this one too. I'm just really far away. 3 is sadness, sorrow, typically. 3 swords planted into a heart. It's still actually a heart, interestingly enough. It's still a deer. Good alliteration there, James. I just love the spirals. Then we go to 4. focusing in on one thought versus all of the rest. There's so many different angles to be at, so I'm giving it a rest. 5 feels like this fighting of thoughts, fighting of energy, and then recognizing, looks like this one guy over here figured out he could make a bridge to then get his own swords. 7. And then there's 8, which is often a sign of frustration and sadness. And then 9, even more so, perhaps standing in direct counterance to the experience. I really just like the rest of this too, because the page is like, ooh, I can fight that thing. The knight's going after it, actually fighting the thing. The queen being soft in her way, going ahead and knowing that this is the true way to hold back this beast today. And then the king is in delight, celebrating and helping take care of the babies as they're going through their life. Being careful and tender with your thoughts. I really just appreciate how closely it resembles the original Rider White. And I'm just blown away by it at the same time. I don't know. I feel complete right now. I don't want to go further. But I have one last line. Alright. The Ace of Wands is the beginning of the idea, the beginning inspiration. 2 of Wands, then deciding which actions will you take. 3, creating a triangle to create the wellspring of focus and awareness. 4, grounding in the energies. This one's a little trickier for me to see, but each one of these is a staff as well. And they're all kind of working together. Versus in 5, where they're fighting each other, which is not a bad thing. Often they're all going counterintuitive to one another, but then in 6 you get it together and then you're able to really start to travel. And then in 7, hey, you have to do it, even an interesting journey of how to travel with it, jumping from space to space. And then 8, it's like there's all these things you have to like kind of walk through and perhaps fight your way through. 9, you see this being further, having to fight through it. And 10, ultimately again, like just like in 8, all these things binding you and fighting you from truly succeeding in your passion or whatever it is you're trying to do. The Wands is an interesting suit for me because, again, there's not as many people in the Wands. But it's interesting because you see this. It's the same story that we were just experiencing, but now the Ace of Embers, Ace of Wands. Let's see if you can get that without so much glare. The fire, the desire, the 2 people celebrating the hue, the idea, the encouragement, that yeah, this is a great thing, we should totally do that. Followed by 3, just like, oh, I've got to go do this thing. This thing is coming. 4, housing all the elements. To really take time to explore, really take time to hone in on your practices. 5, another chaotic maelstrom of energy. 6, Hmm. Definitely feel the maelstrom of energy really being evoked further from here. No, I don't necessarily get a lot from 6 right now. But 7, I feel as if it's like a bird rising up out of the book. And there's the 7 little spires below it. I remember reading this one earlier too, and I just don't remember what it meant at all. Because remember, this part is an oracle. This isn't necessarily the tarot, so this is a whole different thing. But it's intended to be similar. So then an 8. I like the meteors coming down. It's really, something you gotta dodge. And you see like 8 and 10, both of them have meteors going off on them. So it's kind of like the obstacles of the 8 and 10 of the wands in the previous. It's like, oh, no, that's coming down. It's so much fun. Yeah. Ace of Birds. Again, the idea of a thought, hey, I want to make this gigantic monument. I want to make this gigantic thing. Let's bring some shit over to do it. 3 of Air, 3 of Swords. Birds coming down, getting shot down in the sky. In their heart. Again, good job with the alliteration there. Flux. 4. I really like it because it's a home. There's not a lot of houses in this set, but where there is, it's a great way of saying the structure, the security, the peace of mind coming online with those 4 of birds. Then at 5, I guess they're fighting. Lots of ideas flying around and fighting and stopping each other from doing their thing or messing up their nest. And 6, you've got airplanes flying around, which is typically the energy of science. 6 of Air is science, so it's like deducing what is necessary, what is needed to create a logical order within your life. And then 7, there's all these different possibilities of ways to go, but then within there it can also be like they can all work together easily if you allow them to. And then 8, chaos. Confusion is the lord of that particular card. And then 9, kind of being overwhelmed by all the things like right up in your face that you're trying to battle off. And then at 10 birds all eating the flesh of whatever. It's typically a card of ruin, of like those thoughts have taken you as far as they possibly can. So now it's a good time to release them. So I definitely really enjoy using the Oracle. I'm excited to experience more of this as the days and weeks go on. Because it gives everything from a unique and different perspective. Gotta get some cards out of the way. So, the Ace of Trees. Look at the floor on that. That's really cool. 2 of Trees. Trees. Oh, Pentacles. That makes sense. Okay. I was like, what are trees? Jeez. So yeah, the idea, the planting of seeds, the beginning of a new journey, beginning of a new day. 2 could be barren, but the idea of planting new plants helps it grow by putting in the work, the effort, the commitment, And then you see it slowly growing as we go into 4. And then 5 is a little bit of a fallow. Wow, look at that. Skull hidden in the tree. To really highlight the sense of decay that'll happen during times, especially when you're first starting off, you know. But then they bring in some irrigation. Again, smart, wise usage of the land. That helped it out. Get on to 7. Got commerce happening, growth, community, healthy community. I mean, 8 looks a little overcrowded, but you know, that's the commitment. Look, oh, cool. So they did bridges, which 8 of discs is typically a sign of like keep growing, keep developing, keep doing more work. And so, you know, having a bridge there really just shows like the patience and persistence going through. And then 9 is one of like, look at this beautiful lap of luxury that we're in. Oh my god, I just love this whole scene right here. Oh, it's my fave out of this particular set. And then 10 is like the creme de la creme. Tower up in the trees. Ugh. Can you imagine having like an elven tree house? Getting to like have a bird's eye view of everything. Ugh. What a beautiful set. And again, I don't actually know if I said it yet, but this is just my interpretation off of, you know, reading it from the writer right for so many years. But I'm really happy. So, now we've got the Ace of Discs, Ace of Cups, effectively, but this is Ace of Lotus. Ace of Lotus. Versioning of emotions moving out of the lotus, blooming, blossoming, all that effort. I wonder what type of lotuses these are, because we got lotuses here at the pond and they don't look like this at all. Just panorama, because like look at that, like these are like the lily pads or something, and we don't have that here. They're cool though. Anyway, 2 of Cups, little cute lovers going down a river canal, chilling out. 3 of Cups is typically the overflowing of emotions. But there just looks like people pedaling their way down the lake. And then 4, the tide's coming in. And there is some upset going on. And we see 5, and there's really a lot of upset going on with that. 5 and 6 have upsets. But perhaps 6 is like just starting to straighten itself out. And 7, it's interesting because 7's of Cups is normally like figuring out what emotion you want to work with, and this particular 7 is just like, well, we're going through it all. And perhaps that's part of it. It's like, you know, there's no, regardless of what emotion you start focusing on, you're always focused on the emotions. There's just a bunch of them going on. Not sure what's going on with 8, but it definitely reminds you of the building 3 up here. I'm excited to read what the artist had to say about this because it's just so cool. And then, 9 and 10. Oof. You're either coming back out on top with 9 or you're going upside down, depending on if it's a reverse or not. Yeah. And then 10 is everything's coming back and everything's beautiful, happy, successful, joyous. Yeah. It's a bird's eye view of James Eads' Cosma Visions and Prisma Visions decks. Yeah, from my perspective, I've only just got them a few days ago, and yeah, really enjoy them so far. We're not going to go over all of these right now, mainly because, especially with the Cosmovision deck, he did something completely different with them. They're called the beings, and the beings are all the different varieties of, presences, which is kind of how I've been looking at the court cards for a while. And I just am really excited to see how they really work together. I'm wondering if they even can connect together, so I'll be looking at that momentarily. Alright, so this is it for right now.